And everybody knew that I need a draw, to have my norm for my international master. But of course, Keres, even here, he could try a little bit, especially because his team had such a position. I mean, they were losing the match until now. Yeah.
Yes.
And here he proposed draw. He proposed draw, smiling like this, of course. And the Soviets were very unhappy about this. I mean, they consider it was not good at all. I mean, such an attitude from their player,
Because
and because of the match situation. I mean, they
yes,
were
because
if
of the match, and also they wanted him
yeah, but they
to
wanted
win.
him to win against a young player who was completely new and he didn't know too much. I mean, myself. I mean,
And
and
Mr. Keres
no,
was happy that a young player
no,
was
he didn't. He didn't do it on purpose. I mean, but he
not on
knew. I
purpose,
mean,
but
he
he was.
considered somehow the position is good enough for Black that
Yeah.
I could hold the game.
But
But
what I want to say is like he was happy
he
that
was a
you put a good
gentleman, of
fight.
course. Yeah,
He
he
was a
was a
gentleman. You
gentleman.
put a good
Yes,
fight and
yes,
appreciated.
yeah, of course. And of course, we made the draw, and finally they won the last game, and finally they didn't lose the match. I mean, the game was draw. I mean, 2-2. Everybody was happy. They won the Olympic Games. Everybody was content, and the incident was forgotten, for Keres. And a
But
few
for you
years, for me
personal was very
personally,
important, like
of course, the most important thing, of course, no,
to
yeah,
win the norm,
yes,
to
of
have a
course,
draw with this
with
person,
Keres and
and
so on,
also
And afterwards, we had a very good relationship, and we met again a few years later in Hastings. Well, I'll tell you later on what happened in Hastings.
yes,
And
we'll see that game.
yes,
But actually, I would like so you actually to talk about that game.
yes, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
So so this one was a draw, and then we had a draw also
Well,
in Hastings.
it was a little bit strange, of course, that we met, I don't know, maybe 8 times, 7 times, I don't know how many times, but every game was very hard. I mean, we fought very hardly, but all games were draw. I don't know how, but it happened like this.
Yes.
And even our last game in Budapest in 1970, where Keres was a little bit, he was ill, and it was finally his last big tournament that he played. And then we made draw also, and he won the tournament. And a few months later, he died, and it was his last big tournament and his last pleasant moment that he could win such a strong tournament. But it was a fantastic player and
But
a gentleman.
here in Budapest, actually, this tournament he was leading, right?
Yes.
When he played against you, he couldn't come to
He
the
couldn't move. I mean, he had to stay
in the hotel, in
in
the
his
room,
room. I mean, he couldn't move.
and you
And
propose.
the doctors told them, I mean, the organizers, the referee, Keres himself, that if I didn't want to play in his room, he would win. I mean, he would lose the game, by forfeit. He
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
come to play. And of course, I accepted. We went to his room. We made the drum quickly, 10 moves, 15 moves. He won the tournament. Everybody was very happy, and that was our last meeting somehow. Yeah, it was sad, but that's life. Yes.
And yeah, I guess I don't know. There were many games where you actually moved to the room of the player
No,
to.
it's an exception. But
Yeah,
what could you do?
yeah,
You can't win in such way, against a
true.
player like Keres, or against anybody else. I mean, if you play somebody who he can't move from his room and you accept to win by forfeit, what kind of attitude is this?
You also, when you played in Hastings and you look at that game, when you played with him in Hastings, you said that actually you had like a winning position.
Yeah, well, I'll show you.
Okay,
It would
but
be very
actually I want
interesting.
to talk about it. We look at the game in
Yes,
details,
yes.
but so you're winning, and you also had like a good, like more
No,
advantages.
it was like this. If you want the story, the small
Yes, the story
story.
actually,
Yes, the
yes.
small story was like this. We played a normal game, a very
Yes.
interesting game, the same variation that I won against Bobby later on, in Havana, but some other possibility for white and for black. I mean, he played something else, not like Bobby, completely different variation, but also very interesting. Very complicated game, and somehow in middle game and so on, I had a small edge. I was better somehow. Well, the game continued, and we came, I don't know, after 26, 27 games, something like 27 moves like this. It was clearly better for me, and he was in big time trouble. That was the problem, that he was in very big time trouble. He didn't have time, maybe 2, 3 minutes for 13, 14 moves, almost impossible to play. And then I had to sacrifice a piece. If I give the piece, I sacrifice the piece, and he accepts, is almost lost in every variation. And then the situation was a little bit critical, a little, strange, because the game was decisive. If he makes draw or wins, he wins the tournament from Hastings. If I manage to win somehow, I have a very good chance to come first, tie for first. I mean, first, second, maybe second or second, third with Gligoric together, but everybody on the first place, like this. Therefore, the game was very important. But then I did. I mean, I had a move like his move from Varna. Almost the same, or even more important because it was the first place in Hastings. It was a very important tournament at that time. Historical tournament and so on. And in this completely difficult position for him, with very good chance for me to win, I offered the draw. And he accepted, of course, and everybody else didn't understand why I didn't win and so on. And I said, okay, I didn't see the continuation, I didn't see the sacrifice. And we went together to our hotel and so on, and he wanted to know the truth. And we were already in very good relationship like this, and he asked me to tell him the truth, if I saw it or not. I said that I didn't see. He insisted that he wanted to, it's impossible, it was simple, you sacrifice a piece, and afterwards, in my big time trouble, it's almost finished. So I said, okay, I saw it, and that was my small revenge for Varna, because I considered, I considered that in Varna, where I was, a small player like this, I mean, without any experience, and one of the best in the world, a legendary player, and so on, and you knew that I had the possibility to have my norm and so on, and in such a position, when the Soviet team was, in
Putting
such a
pressure.
difficult position, you offered the draw, and it was almost a scandal from your side. I mean,
So
the
you
Soviet
appreciate
side.
since that period that
Yeah,
you wanted to
after
return
two,
the
three
favor.
years like this, that was my small revenge. Okay, now we are even. If you want, from now on, we play all our games all over the world. We play in a normal way, and who plays better or who has a
So now
better
you
winner.
felt inside
Now, okay,
that
I
you are
consider that I had
even.
I had my my best way to play. So
But you also told
yeah,
me,
and we were very good friends
yeah,
afterwards.
if you permit, Mr. Gheorghiu, you also told me on our private discussion that actually when you saw that he's in such bad, like a time, like almost losing on time,
Yeah, I let
you
him. I let him think. I
you le-
didn't push the clock. I didn't push the
so you
clock.
moved, and instead of pushing the clock, you
Yeah,
behave like you forgot to push the
yeah.
clock.
I let him. I let him think. I gave
Yeah,
him
more
some
time.
kind. Some more minutes to think. No, because if you push the clock in such a position, it's clear that he loses some time. He has no
Yeah.
time at all. The position was very complicated. It's almost impossible to make the moves.
So that
But it was some other period. In this time, we still had some gentlemen between us. I mean, from this generation.
wasn't like
Yeah.
in present, like every now everyone has to
Everybody, if they
win.
have the
And
possibility to kill the opponent, it's all right. But afterwards, we forget the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, but it was better. It was nicer before. Anyway. Yeah, in my opinion, that was the right way to play. I won. Later on, I won Hastings. So that it wasn't my last possibility. But for him was very important because he was a little bit old and a little bit ill, and somehow for
So you
him,
felt like
yeah.
that.
So I felt like this, and it was the right way to do it. In my opinion, yeah. Later on, we had almost the same almost the same attitude in Buenos Aires. I told you about this when I refused to win by forfeit against Bobby Fischer, and
We'll talk about that one
yes, and, yeah,
on
yeah.
on a
But
next
it was
episode.
some other time, some other period, and it was nicer. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
In the
Gheorghiu.
human way of play, let's say,
There are
I consider it was the normal way to do it. Yeah.
great.
Maybe not now, but it's different. It's a different period. Yeah,
True.
yeah, it's true, no? Yeah,
It's true.
okay.
It's true. I think to be human, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. The times you can be
yeah,
anytime, but
yeah,
maybe at that time were more normal
yeah,
than it
yeah.
is
Right,
today.
right, like this. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Therefore,
Gheorghiu.
chess was very beautiful before, without computers. Without
Yeah.
computers, it was to play humans between human against human. It was better and normal. You know? Yeah. And somehow you could have a nice surprise like this, because between machines it's impossible. The machines will never do it. It's
You
impossible.
never
Yeah, yeah,
take such decisions. It's
correct.
only
Yeah,